as you're heading out this morning.
All right, Matt, thank you. Well, a fourth grade student in Utah thinks that a math problem assignment was offensive.
That's right. Rhythm Pacheco is a fourth grader. She says that one of the questions asked students to compare girls' weights, asking how much heavier is Isabel than the lightest student. Well, so shocked, she wrote, "What? This is offensive. Sorry, I won't write this. It's rude."
So I thought it was offensive. Girls shouldn't be comparing each other, and I know it was a math problem, but I didn't think that was really okay.
Good for you. Eureka Math, which provided the math curriculum to the school, said there is no value judgment. It's merely a comparison, but this young girl hopes her stance will lead to a change. And we were talking about this morning how insecure you already are when you're that age, let alone when it gets pointed out.
Right.
What if she just didn't understand the math problem? She's just like, hey, I'm just going to say that,
There you go.
I'm kidding. I'm not making light of it.
Like we said, girls at that age are so impressionable as it is. We shouldn't have to focus on that. Let's just talk about math. Those are numbers. We can just, I always hated the word solving problems, so those ones were awful.
Story problems, we called them in my school.
Yes, story problems. Oh, those are horrible. Give me the railroads and,
I'm having PTSD just like looking at that problem.
All right, we do have quite a bit of flooding that we're still dealing with from the recent rain that we've had actually. The river flooding will continue even though the rain has stopped. That is something that I think a lot of people are just not aware of. When the rain stops, those rivers take time for all that water to kind of get into those areas, and then eventually the rivers will continue to rise. So we do have some live reports coming in with Shernay Amara later on today. We'll show you some of those later on in our newscast. But here's the story for today. Drizzle to sunshine. Yes, the sun actually does exist, and it is coming back today. A lot of sunshine that I know we want to see, right? Thank goodness, because we need it. And the rain outlook for mid-October, looking pretty good around here, which we definitely need. And also the temperature-wise, by mid-October, I'm expecting those highs to get a nice little boost. So we're definitely not done with some of those warm temperatures. But for now, guys, we're still just dealing with the after effects of all of that heavy rain. Again, some areas got 5 to 7 inches. So it'll be a while before that goes down.
And we'll need that sun to kind of dry everything out. Thank you.
David Big Papi Ortiz is returning to Major League Baseball. TMZ reports that he'll join pre- and post-game coverage of the playoffs. Big Papi's return comes months after he almost died in a shooting in the Dominican Republic.
5:53, the Packers get to face an old friend Sunday. Big 12 Sports Director Dan Needles brings us your morning sports.
Good morning, everybody. Now that the Brewers season is over, a lot more attention will be paid.
Back with some of this morning's top headlines.
Starting with a vintage plane crash in Connecticut, authorities say 7 people died after the World War II B-17 bomber went down yesterday. Witnesses say the plane had mechanical problems on takeoff and was trying to land when it crashed. The bomber is part of an educational tour offering flights to civilians.
The man who resigned as a U.S. Special Envoy to Ukraine last Friday is expected to appear for a closed-door deposition with lawmakers this morning. Whistleblower complaint named Kurt Volker as one of the Americans who spoke with Rudy Giuliani about his meetings with Ukrainian officials. Complaint is at the center of a House impeachment inquiry.
Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders is in a Las Vegas hospital. Doctors put 2 stents in Sanders' blocked artery after he started having chest pains. The 78-year-old tweeted he felt good. His campaign appearances are canceled indefinitely.
And a huge settlement to resolve claims stemming from the 2017 Las Vegas massacre expected to come down today. That is according to people briefed on these plans. In May, MGM Resorts said it could pay as much as $800 million in liabilities tied to the mass shooting, which left 58 people dead and more than 800 hurt.
It is Thursday, October 3rd, 2019. 12 News This Morning continues right now.
Leading the way with important local coverage. You're watching WISN 12 News This Morning.
Just about 6 o'clock on this Thursday morning, and we're starting the hour with another live look outside, another rainy start to the day. Drizzle still lingering.
That's right. Parts of southeast Wisconsin are already waterlogged. Here's some video from Tuesday night at the Majestic Hills Mobile Home Park in Beaver Dam. They saw 7 inches of rain there.
Yeah, and that's rain and the drizzle, Lindsay, it's just falling onto already soggy ground.
That's the thing, too. It's going to take time for us to really kind of basically scale back from this rain event that we had. Now, noticing here, the radar network, Nothing's showing up on here, but drizzle never does. It's a very small feature. I know I say that over and over again, but you might be checking your radar and you're like, hey, I'm getting wet outside and there's nothing on the radar. It's broken. No, it's just drizzle. That will be the continuing trend here throughout this morning. You can also see the visibility numbers here are also pretty low. So as you're heading out the door, just know it may take you some extra time. We have wet pavement, some slick spots out there, especially on the turns. Just be careful. And also the visibility just kind of adds a little bit more fuel to the fire. A live look outside, it's hard to see a whole lot of anything. 57 degrees right now in Milwaukee. We have 50s across the board in Waukesha, Sheboygan, and Racine. Today, we will see the sunshine return. Thank goodness we have the drizzle this morning. Peaks of sun later today. High temperatures getting into the low 60s. So as you're heading out the door, just grab the rain gear, the umbrellas, and also a coat because it does feel chilly out there. It also will be windy. So even though I'm going 62, the coat you might need throughout the day.
Looking forward to having the sun back, though, that's for sure. Thank you.
All right, and we are keeping an eye on rivers across our area because they are rising.
That's right. 12 News' Shernay Amara is live in Grafton over the Milwaukee River. What are you seeing there, Shernay?
Yeah, well, you know, it's misting out here right now, the heavy rain, because as we know, it does take a while for all of that to settle in. I'll send it back to you in the studio.
So many people who live in these riverfront communities just watching and waiting for the sun to come out so this can start to recede. Shernay, thank you.
Well, we're still dealing with rain, floods, and even storm damage.
National Weather Service confirmed 2 tornadoes hit southeast Wisconsin Tuesday night in Eden. Those twisters left behind a lot of damage.
That's right. One of them, an EF1 tornado, packed winds of up to 100 miles per hour. In the town of Ottawa, the twister uprooted trees and tore the roof off of one family's barn. The storm also left a mess in one Waukesha County couple's kitchen. Part of a tree came through the roof and into their kitchen, but they say it could have been much worse.
I am grateful that Mark Baden was on the air when we were watching the news. We're living proof that hadn't we gotten these warnings, we wouldn't be here.
Glad they're doing okay, too. There were no reports of injuries. That other twister, an EF0 touchdown in Fort Atkinson, that's where the video's from. And you can see entire trees uprooted onto homes there. The National Weather Service says it peeled the roof off a barn. Again, thankfully, there were no major injuries. But, yeah, I mean, this will take a while to clean up, taking a look at that damage. I mean, I'm so grateful that that couple is doing okay. So shout out to Mark Baden for looking out for people.
Yes.
Right, and you can't always rely on the tornado sirens. I know our meteorologists say that all the time, so you really have to be aware.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, because of the rain, the chopper is not flying this morning.
Yeah, so Matt Salemi's in the studio with us this morning, keeping an eye on travel.
Use Highway 175 as your alternate until they get that reopened. It's been there for quite some time now. It's been there for a little more than an hour, so I'll continue to keep an eye on it.
All right, we'll check back with you. Thank you. As we keep hearing about more deaths, doctors at the Children's Hospital of Wisconsin have some new insight. They first sounded the alarm on the problem with vaping. Hannah Hilliard is joining us live now at Children's. And Hannah, they're truly on the forefront of what has now become a national conversation.
They really are, Adrienne, so much so that the doctors here at the Children's Hospital of Wisconsin
About it.
And Hannah, once the doctors discovered the vaping link, they also found a treatment that seems to help.
Yeah, Adrienne, so they say actually a fairly high dose of steroids is helping their patients feel better. So that means all of those teenagers that have been admitted here to the hospital in Wisconsin have since gone home.
Oh, some great news there, Hannah. Thank you. Well, you can hear more from the doctors at Children's on Good Morning America. That starts at 7 a.m. right after this newscast.
Convicted killer Brendan Dassey wants Governor Evers to free him from prison. Dassey is serving a life sentence for the 2005 murder of Teresa Hallback. Netflix featured this case in its series Making a Murderer. In a handwritten note to the governor, Dassey asked for a pardon because he said, quote, "I'm an innocent and I want to go home." His attorneys argue that the confession Dassey gave as a teenager was forced.
The courts have been unable to deliver justice for him. We now ask Governor Evers to deliver that justice and bring Brendan home.
Well, Governor Evers' office tells 12 News they're going to consider this request as they do with all pardons.
As Democrats prepare to subpoena the White House, the president is voicing his frustration. Democrats put the White House on notice, turn over the information related to President Trump's efforts to have Ukraine investigate his political rivals or face a subpoena. The president sent out a furious tweet saying the Democrats should be focused on building up our country, not wasting everyone's time and energy on bull.
I think the president knows the argument that can be made against him, and he's scared.
Say he's scared. Did you hear the fear in his voice when you spoke with him on the phone last week?
I saw the surprise in his voice that he didn't understand that I thought what he did was wrong.
This morning on GMA, an ABC News exclusive one-on-one with Speaker Nancy Pelosi. That's coming up again right after this newscast. It's just about 6:08 and 12 News marks Hispanic Heritage Month. And today, state leaders will host the second annual Black and Latino Roundtable.
Now, the main roundtable starts at 11 o'clock this morning at the state capitol, but you can participate remotely here in Milwaukee or wherever you live at the Mitchell Street Library at 9th and Mitchell, and at Coffee Makes You Black at Teutonia and Hadley. Minority empowerment in Wisconsin will be the focus of the roundtable discussion. There's outrage in Texas over the sentence of an ex-cop convicted of murder.
But amid all that tension, an emotional embrace in the courtroom. This is just unbelievable here, with the victim's brother told the suspect. That's coming up next.
That moment getting a lot of attention. And we've got a terrifying video of a crash on a Wisconsin road. We'll tell you who police say was at fault and the warning they have for drivers this morning.
The fire.
Times says they're from when Kavanaugh was a student at Yale, and the FBI has not investigated those allegations. High school allegations against Kavanaugh took center stage at his confirmation hearing last year.
Today is Mexico's Independence Day. The country celebrated last night with the ringing of the bells, the battle cry, and fireworks. Mexico gained independence from Spanish rule on September 16th, 1810.
It is Monday, September 16th. 12 News This Morning continues right now.
Leading the way with important local coverage. You're watching WISN 12 News This Morning.
Right now, look at this. It is a foggy start to your Monday morning. You can barely really make it out. This is how it looks in Milwaukee right now. There's thick fog that's blanketing the skyline. It's tough to see as you head out the door.
And Lindsay, that's why you're calling today an impact morning.
It is because we have a dense fog advisory that continues until 10 a.m. And it's not just for Milwaukee. This is for everybody in southeast Wisconsin. So as you're heading out the door, allow yourself some extra time. We're going to check in with Matt here in a couple of minutes. But look at some of these numbers. When visibility gets below 3 miles, that's what this is. That is when you're going to have a more difficult time, kind of heading out the door. So we have a half a mile of visibility in Waukesha, about 3/4 of a mile near Milwaukee. Racine looks okay right now, but Kenosha not so much, down to about a half a mile visibility right now. And that's a live look at our airport camera. Hard to see a whole lot of anything. And then also you can see over the next 12 hours, still calling it an impact day, at least through 10 a.m. After that, we are going to clear up. Temperatures are going to get a little boost today in the low 70s. We'll see some more heat as we head into, later on in the week, but we'll get some sunshine later on. But guys, this is the last 7 p.m. sunset until March 17th of 2020. So just wanted to throw that nugget at you this morning.
No. It makes me so sad.
I know. Mark likes all these statistics, so we're trying to,
We've enjoyed it while it lasted.
Yeah,
Gotta go with what the boss says.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Thanks.
Well, now a look at how the fog is impacting morning travel times. We want to get to Matt Salemi. He's in studio today. How's it looking right now, Matt?
Yep, the chopper's staying in because of the fog. So if you've got to jump in the car, we do have one.
Matt, breaking from overnight, a suspected road rage shooting.
Hillary Mintz is live at the scene on the south side. What do we know so far, Hillary?
Well, Adrian, investigation. For now, we are live on the south side. I'm Hillary Mintz, WISN 12 News This Morning.
Yeah, it's upsetting to hear about yet another road rage shooting. Hillary, thank you. Well, it is 6:03 now, and a day they honored the on-field leader of the Lombardi Packers. Matt LaFleur became the first man since Vince Lombardi to win his first 2 games as the head coach of the Packers. What a weekend. The Packers had a tremendous first quarter, scoring on the opening possession of the game. Green Bay scored all 21 of their points in the first 16 minutes. But Minnesota rallied. This was a little scary with 16 unanswered points and a chance to take the lead late. But Kevin King, with an interception in the end zone, helped the Packers hold to win 21-16.
That was a really good team win for us. Anytime you can win a division game, especially against a quality opponent like the Minnesota Vikings, you can never take that for granted. It was awesome. It was an electric atmosphere. I thought our crowd really did a great job of getting loud and provided that spark that we're looking for each and every week.
The 2-0 start is the Packers' best since 2015. The Broncos come to Lambeau Field next Sunday. And in addition to the action on the field, an honor for Packers legend Bart Starr. This was so special. 12 Sports spoke exclusively with another Packers quarterback, Brett Favre, about Starr's legacy.
It goes without saying what he means to this organization, what he will always mean to this organization. I commend the Packers for making sure that that legacy lives on. You know, too many times in today's game, I feel like there's a disconnect between the players and the former players and what they've done and how they paved the way for this generation. It's nice that he's remembered the way the Packers have remembered him. And I'm just honored to be a part of it because someday, you know, I may be that guy.
Favre says it was really an honor to call Starr a friend.
Now to the Brewers, who had their most important for them.
DeVos is visiting Milwaukee this morning, and Wisconsin Democrats say they're going to meet DeVos with protest. She's kicking off her national back-to-school tour at St. Marcus Lutheran School. She's highlighting the area's education freedom program that allows school choice. State Democrats say the Trump administration is trying to privatize public education, and they're against it. That protest will start in just about an hour now at 7:15.
A judge will sentence the man charged for hiding a camera inside a woman's bathroom at a BMW dealership. Employees at Umansky Motors in Glendale made the discovery back in April. Police say a clip on the SD card showed one of the dealership's managers setting the camera in place. That sentencing hearing is set for 8:15 this morning. A death investigation triggered a hazardous materials response at a Milwaukee home. A hazmat crew and investigators responded near 52nd and Melvina for several hours yesterday. Crews boarded up the house when they left, but have not said what they found inside or how the person found at the scene died.
We're expecting to learn more today about a fight that escalated to a deadly stabbing in West Dallas. Surveillance video captured the aftermath near 71st and Beecher. Police and medics tried to save the man stabbed. Our sister station in Eau Claire says the victim was from Onalaska. Neighbors tell 12 News 2 people were involved, a man and a woman, and both got away on bikes.
We don't know who it is, and so we're a little uneasy. You know, of course, every time we see a little bike, we're going to be like, is that the person?
While police haven't identified any suspects, they're calling this an isolated incident, and investigators say they plan to release a description of those people today.
People gathered this weekend to help the family free of charge. A movie set stunt that went horribly wrong.
An accident that has a stunt woman suing the producers of a Hollywood film.
Plus, a Montana woman takes stopping speeding drivers into her own hands. How she's using her hair dryer to do it, coming up.
But there is another potential. The ground is very saturated right now, and that could easily allow those roots to kind of give way, even with just a small gust of wind. So something to consider as we go to the overnight hours. If you start to kind of, you know, hear cracking trees or anything like that, that may be because of that saturated ground. Now, overnight tonight, damaging winds, that is still going to be a threat for some areas, but I'm really looking at that flooding threat. Now, that severe thunderstorm watch literally just dropped moments ago, which is good news, but don't let your guard down, especially if you're in Walworth County, Racine County, and near the state line where flash flooding is still a very big potential. Just look at all of this heavy rain. Some areas received 1 to 3 inches of rain on Monday. We had 1 to 2 inches of rain already today. And Adrian and Patrick, we have more rain on the way, and I'll talk about the timing of this front coming up next.
All right, we'll check in just a little bit, Lindsay. Thank you. An SUV slammed into a Milwaukee home, causing the porch to collapse. This happened just after 6:30 tonight at 20th and Arthur. The homeowner says he heard a loud bang. He thought it was a fallen tree and rushed outside.
Came out front and saw this truck under my porch.
I know Milwaukee has a lot of things that we've got to work through, but this is obviously a big issue, and we've got to fix this problem.
Caroline, it's good to see her recovering there. What's next?
Police say that they arrested that driver who caused the crash for driving drunk, but they have not released that driver's name.
Okay, could have been even worse. Caroline Reinwald reporting live in Milwaukee for us. Thank you.
Now to a week. Illnesses linked to vaping continues to rise. President Donald Trump is addressing the growing epidemic. The president announced today his administration plans to ban flavored e-cigarettes. The new policy is expected in the coming weeks. It would pull all flavors except tobacco from store shelves.
We can't allow people to get sick, and we can't have our youth be so affected.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is investigating more than 450 cases and 6 deaths across the country. Authorities have not pinpointed a particular device or product that's the source of those illnesses.
There's new word tonight of layoffs at Harley-Davidson in Milwaukee, and we're working to find out just how many people lost their jobs. 12 News' Derek Rose has been covering this story since the afternoon. Derek, what are you learning?
Well, when we asked Harley for specifics, Adrian, officials would not use the word layoff, but said past 3 years, the lowest percentage coming in the first 6 months of 2019.
Employees must be anxious, Derek. Did Harley-Davidson say whether they're expecting any more changes?
They would not, Adrian. They stopped at that statement they gave us earlier, but at least one source told us there is growing fear among the remaining Harley employees that just like this morning, they too could be blindsided with another restructuring.
Yeah, understandable why they'd be concerned. Derek Rose live in the newsroom. Incredible video tonight shows a shooting this morning that happened in Teutonia and Locust. Cameras caught 2 men firing at least 15 times their target, a car. You can see at least one bullet. It ripped through the glass there as 2 people rushed inside the store to try to get away from that gunfire.
One right there. Okay. Is one over here?
That's the gas station owner showing 12 News the bullet holes. A 17 and 18-year-old both drove off after someone shot them. Police say they're going to survive.
Health officials are reporting this year's first human case of the West Nile virus in Wisconsin. State health officials say the infected person lives in the northeastern part of the state. Right now is the prime time for West Nile. Health officials say a majority of cases pop up in August and September.
Milwaukee's Omega restaurant is shut down tonight because of 26 health code violations. When we called, one staffer didn't want to answer our questions.
Oh, he's not here in a moment.
Okay. Do you have a contact number or someplace I could reach him at?
Bye.
Is there a number I can? Is there a number I can contact him at?
No, I don't have a number.
Not saying much to Kent there. Now, this is all because of what one health department worker called an uncommon and excessive list of health code violations. They include food contamination, debris and mold in food storage areas, and a leaking sewage line. The restaurant's next scheduled inspection is in about 2 weeks. Now to the play that ended a Brewers' star season. Christian Yelich broke his kneecap after he fouled a pitch off his leg last night in Miami. Everybody talking about this today. The reigning National League MVP returned to Milwaukee for more testing.
But how long will his recovery take? We asked a local surgeon to weigh in.
I would say the best case scenario is it's a type of a crack that's not displaced. It's a single crack and doesn't need surgery.
In that best case scenario, Yelich would need maybe 6 weeks plus rehab, but if surgery is needed, the doctor says it could be more like 4 months. The team has not given any idea of a timeline. Never forget.
18 years later, remembering the September 11th attacks, how people are honoring the victims tonight.
Plus, a truck lands on the roof of a house. We'll show you how it got there.
And a skin cream warning, a woman in a coma after buying a popular brand in Mexico, the toxic ingredient that landed her in the ER.
The future of dog-friendly, the high-tech sidewalk sanctuary coming to Wisconsin.
Weather Watch 12.